These days, TV soundbars are all the rage. No doubt because the sound quality of the speakers built into most TVs is almost universally awful. But have you ever wondered what was the very first TV soundbar? Well, you're looking at it. The Telesound with Telestereo, introduced in 1980 by Telesound Incorporated of Mountainside, New Jersey. As the story goes, Telesound with Telestereo was invented by an engineer who was fed up with the poor sound quality of even his most expensive home video equipment. He was almost immediately overwhelmed by requests from family, friends, and friends of friends for Telesound units of their own. Today, Telesound Incorporated is the largest producer of self-contained video sound enhancers in the world. These Telesound units were advertised in several magazines and were available by mail order for $129.95. To put things in perspective, back in 1980, the most common size for televisions was 19 inches, and a good quality 19-inch color TV would cost you around $500. The Telesound was designed to fit neatly on top of one of those TVs, and it has a 7-watt per channel amplifier and 2 built-in 5-inch full-range stereo speakers. The control panel has an attractive brushed metal faceplate and has controls for on-off and volume, balance, treble and bass, and a 1/4-inch stereo headphone jack. As I turn it around, you can see it's not very deep, and on the back it has an information plate and some input jacks and a socket for the power supply. The mono input was designed to be connected to the earphone jack of a TV, and the stereo input was designed to be connected to a videotape recorder or video disc player, and it runs on 12 volts AC from a power supply which has the Telesound logo on it. But back in 1980, the only available consumer video format with stereo sound was Laserdisc. The very first stereo VHS VCR was introduced in June 1980, but pre-recorded stereo VHS tapes were not common until 1982, which is also when the first stereo Betamax VCRs were introduced, and when CED added stereo sound to their video disc format. And stereo TV broadcast programming did not get on the air until 1985 in the USA. So as the Telesound's installation instructions show, for anything other than Laserdisc or what they called Magnavision, you are going to need either a Y adapter to convert the mono sound output to the 2 stereo inputs of the Telesound, or you would just connect it directly to the mono input from your earphone jack of your TV, or you could even clip it to the speaker terminals of your TV if it did not have an earphone jack. So because virtually everything you were going to be connecting to this soundbar in 1980 was mono, they said the Telestereo feature is designed to give you the ultimate in high-fidelity sound from your present television receiver. Telestereo's matrix circuit gives you 2 channels of simulated stereo sound from your television's monaural signal. Adding simulated stereo sound to TV was by no means a new innovation by Telesound. There were various other adapters which claimed to achieve the same effect, although you needed to connect them to an external amplifier and speakers. Despite being over 40 years old, this Telesound still works perfectly, except for a rather scratchy volume control. Ouch. I would spray some contact cleaner into that control, but I don't see any obvious way of opening this thing up. There's no screws on the back or bottom. They're probably hidden behind these speaker grills, but these are glued in place, and I would probably need to destroy them to gain access to that. Obviously, this is not a period-correct TV to connect to the Telesound, and in fact, in this capacity, I'm not using it as a TV at all, but rather as a computer monitor. But it doesn't make any difference for the Telesound because it can work with any line-level audio source, and this TV has rather poor quality built-in speakers, so it certainly could benefit from the Telesound. So I'll give you a comparison of the same video clip played first through the TV's built-in speakers, then with the TV's headphone output connected to the Telesound, and then finally playing through the Telesound with its Telestereo simulated stereo feature.
Welcome to the Video Professor's series of computer learning tapes, the nation's #1 computer trainer. We'll take you step by step through learning to use your computer software. On the screen now are some other tapes available in our series. When using these tapes, we suggest you watch them in their entirety, then go back with your computer and practice each step. In keeping with the Video Professor's dedication to giving you the best lesson possible, we have packed these tapes with information and sometimes move at a pace that is faster than you will be able to follow along with as you are working with your computer. Remember, you can always pause or rewind the tape to learn each part. Now let's get started.
Well, obviously the Telesound is a major improvement over the sound quality of the TV's built-in speakers, but the Telestereo feature makes very little difference. It just seems to enhance the bass a little bit more and shift the lower frequencies towards the left speaker and the higher frequencies towards the right speaker. Now to give you a sample of what adjusting the balance, treble, and bass controls do, I'll give you a direct hookup sample through the Telesound's headphone jack. To give you a better sample of the stereo effect you get when playing a true stereo source through the Telesound, I set up 2 identical microphones in front of the speakers, and I recommend you listen to this through headphones.
Roller coaster swings that soar from a whisper to a scream, then back to a whisper. It's all part of the amazing dynamic range of CDs.
So the Telesound was a great idea way ahead of its time, years before most people thought about adding stereo sound to their TV. And as for what happened to the Telesound company, they did claim to be the largest producer of self-contained video sound enhancers, in other words, soundbars, but it's easy to be the world's largest manufacturer of something when you're the only one making it. The last record I can find of the Telesound being available was in 1983, and in 1988 their trademark was cancelled and declared dead. And unfortunately, I think that little company in New Jersey overestimated the demand for the Telesound, because 2 decades later, in 2003, a large quantity of these, which had never been sold, ended up at a surplus company called the Surplus Shed, which was selling them new in box for $22.50. I first heard about that in 2008 when the YouTube channel ClydeSight did a video about it, and I eventually got my own Telesound from that surplus company. It definitely looked like it had been sitting in a warehouse for many years because the box was very weathered and worn, and these metal caps on the controls had fallen off because the glue had dried up. But luckily the unit itself survived in good condition, unlike the 2 of these that are currently listed on eBay, which are much worse for wear. So that's been a look at and listen to the first ever TV soundbar, the Telesound with Telestereo, a product way ahead of its time, which still works and sounds great today, over 40 years later.